Starbucks is from Seattle. We got this whole union thing. Everybody wants to be in a union. Union workers, they're saying, yeah, we're just not getting paid enough. All right. So at an Apple store, the employees, they've been using Android phones to keep their unionizing efforts a secret, a report says. Hey, don't you work for Apple? Don't you sell Apple phones for Apple? Yeah, I just like my Android. It's got a better graphics accelerator card. It's got a better SIM card. I just like my Samsung Galaxy, more. And, so I just keep one around in addition to my Apple phone. Every now and then you'll see me using both of them. How awkward would that be? What are you doing with that phone? Is that an Android? Have you got an Android phone? Apple people take that pretty seriously, right? I mean, that's a no-go, hard no-go. If you're an Apple person, Android, no, you're going to get made fun of. And the reason I know these things is because I've always had an Android. And it kind of goes back to being in business. If you're in business back in the day, you didn't have a Mac. You had a PC. Windows is what we referred them to. Windows. Because business applications worked on Windows. Business applications did not work on the education and artists platform known as Apple. Now we all know that majority of stuff will work on Apple, but I was just talking to my dad the other day about software that he has for his business, and it does not work with an Apple phone, which I put both my parents on the Apple phones back a while ago, 2015, kind of made the switch from, I think it was handheld, not handheld. All phones are handheld now, but I think it was from a flip phone to one of maybe an Apple 6, something like that phone. That was a smart move, but they don't integrate oftentimes with older software that might only be for basically an older generation of people in the business environment. Wild stuff. So we're going to talk today about unionizing, Apple employees carrying around an Android, because that's just funny. It's like, what are you doing? You're doing unionizing efforts. Okay. Well, and you're doing that on your Android phone. Crazy stuff, right? I just had to cover this one so that you guys would have an excuse to, make fun of either which one you want to, whatever you want to do. Before we jump on in, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Sean Reynolds. I own a couple of real estate companies and I read news for reasonable people. All right, let's jump on into it. Here we go. Some Apple Store employees have used Android phones to eliminate the possibility that the company could snoop on them as they explore unionization, the Washington Post reported. All right. So do our phones snoop on us? Absolutely. You know how you know that? You'll make a comment to somebody about something that you're not necessarily interested in, but you have that discussion about something. And then, you get all these ads and references and all of a sudden you're inundated with whatever that topic is. And you're like, yeah, we had that. Oh man, my phone's listening to me. My multiple computers are listening to me. Alexa is listening to me. I mean, yeah, all the wrong people are listening to me, right? Is that kind of how you feel sometimes too? I do. I'm like, okay. But every now and then it's really helpful. You're like, okay, I need drain pipe because it rained like a mofo in Washington state over the last couple of days. February 28th was a record rainfall of 3 inches in a day, which is a lot of rain for Seattle. And, some drainage issues at my house. Yep. And so you get these ads and you're like, I need that. How did it know? And you're like, oh yeah, I made a search for something else. And this is just statistically the next piece of product that you probably need because your first solution didn't work. How did they know? They just do, right? So much data out there on us that basically just, we give up and they market to us and that whole thing. So to avoid detection, staff exploring unionization have held secret meetings, communicated using encrypted messaging, and sometimes used Android phones rather than iPhones to avoid any possibility of snooping by Apple. Don't you think Apple could probably figure that out and still check on them? Yeah, me too. That's just kind of the way things work these days. If you get identified as, well, yeah, I'm going to do a little union, whether it be for Apple or Starbucks or any one of these other companies that it seems like this seems to be a familiar topic that comes up routinely. Let's form a union. All right. Well, let's see how much coffee prices go to at your local Starbucks. Mobile operating system Android is Google's competitor to Apple's iOS. Yes, it is. So the Post said that staff from at least 2 Apple stores were close. They're close to filing unionization paperwork with the National Labor Relations Board, and at least 6 other U.S. stores, they're in earlier stages of the process. Be interesting to see how that goes. Let's just sit on the sidelines and see how that happens. And crazy times, right? Apple workers told the Post that they were in part encouraged by successful union drives among Starbucks staff, and we're going to talk about that. Employees at one Apple store told the Post that managers had begun pulling staff aside to try and persuade them unionization would not be beneficial, saying unions would hurt employees and mean that Apple took away their benefits. Okay. Is that a misinformation campaign? It's unknown. It's unclear. I had somebody tell me that a lot of the news stories coming out of the whole Russia invading Ukraine thing, a lot of them are fake. I had somebody tell me specifically that news story about the island that got bombed with I don't know how many soldiers, Ukraine soldiers on that island, and he kind of gave the FU before they fired on them. I had somebody tell me that was just a completely made up story. Was doing some research on that, but then I got sideswiped, covering Apple staff and so many stories out there, so much information to cover. But I had heard that there were quite a few fake news sites, and we've always got this going on with the Russian disinformation campaign, right? I mean, just one way or the other, it's like, the Russians are at it again. Well, maybe it's, a combination of Russians and Ukrainians. I don't know. So hard to tell with this fake news, but it always has kind of a specific bent in one direction. And then you're like, does this make sense? And I was reading a story the other day that was I was like, is this even true? Does this make any sense whatsoever? And if I have to ask myself within like the first paragraph, then I kind of just ditch it and move on to CNN. What? No. Sometimes. Maybe a little CNN business, but CNN for the most part, I just can't really take seriously. Just can't do it. Apple this month offered raises and increased benefits to employees, according to Bloomberg. Workers, we're not supposed to say workers, employees at several Apple stores, but this is a union deal. So workers at several Apple stores told the Post that the raises were not enough in some cases, as some staff received increases of less than $1 per hour. We're in a day and age where everybody expects to have massive raises all the time. They're not getting paid enough. Everybody should make more money. And oftentimes that's just not how this works. You got to work your way up through, layers of nonsense to get there. But in the tech world, oftentimes you don't, and you just rocket to the top. Or that's the way it seems. It does seem that way with all the buyers that we have in the tech world. I was talking to one of my appraisers this morning, and we were talking about city of Bothell, which is to the north of here, but maybe call it 15 miles. It's a suburban community, and we were talking about a list price of 1.5, 14 offers. 1.5 is hideously expensive anyway for Bothell, and 15 offers, and the house ended up going for, I think it was 2.1. So $600,000 over on an already expensive tract home and a tract development. It's like, where are all these workers coming for that are affording these homes? And they're doing $600,000 escalations over list price. How did they rocket to the top and get there? And they're just willing to pay all this money. Obviously, they've got stock options behind them, and they're exercising some of those to make it happen, because these homes are not appraising. This home will not appraise for 2.1. It'll appraise for 1.6, 1.7, maybe. And the rest, you got to make up the difference. So my point is there's so many employees out there with these tech jobs, and oftentimes they are young. And they're just thinking, well, I should get paid more. Well, and it feels like that's filtering down to everybody else. Well, I should get paid more. Okay, but the job is worth, All right, but still, I should get paid more. That's just a common mantra in today's world, isn't it? I need to get paid more. And sometimes you're right. Sometimes you are underpaid. But it's kind of a matter of, all right, is this job what I want to be doing? Does it meet these requirements? There's all that balance stuff, right? Okay, this job doesn't require me to work my rear end off, but I'm not getting paid as much. I go to work at that job. I'm going to have to really work hard. They're going to expect more of me. Maybe I just hang back here and kind of get my side gig going. Maybe, I get my side hustle going. Everybody's got 10 side hustles today, don't they? How about just one hustle and it's your main hustle and you make that really go? All right. Well, that's not reasonable. It's 2022, right? So the workers on this union story, the workers told the Post that wages had not kept up with inflation. Okay, that's true. I have a lot of coworkers and friends who I genuinely love, and they do not make enough to get by, said one Apple Store labor organizer told the newspaper. They're struggling and they're hurting, and we work for a company that has the resources to make sure that they're taken care of. All right, what does that mean? This is that attitude of everybody should just be hand over fist taken care of. I don't have an issue with like healthcare insurance and those kinds of things, but when you start to get pretty crazy, then you're taking the whole point of capitalism and kind of just dumping it on its head. That's the way I look at it after being in business for myself for years and years and years. And oftentimes companies, if you're paying extravagant salaries, then there goes your competitive edge in the marketplace because your overhead is such that you can't make it go. But I'm not saying to treat your employees like crap, but there's a happy medium in there. If you've got somebody that feels like they're adequately getting paid, maybe there's an incentive program for them, or in the case of my company, Summit Properties Northwest, it's commission based only. It's 100% commission. It's eat what you kill. Some people are going to eat a lot. Some people are going to starve. And so, you kind of get to figure out what people are all about in very short order. And sometimes, people get their real estate license and they don't need to, sell a bunch of homes. And that's okay too, because they'll work their sphere. And every now and then something will drop out of the sky into their lap and they'll sell that. And I'll make my cut and we all move on and we say, thank you. That works out well. That's just kind of how it goes. So Apple did not immediately respond to this article, and a group of Apple employees walked off the job on Christmas Eve to protest working conditions. All right. You hear a lot of stuff about Starbucks. And Apple, for that matter, just, we're not paying enough. Okay. Yeah. Well, here's the thing about that, right? Okay. So the Starbucks union drive is spreading rapidly around the country. That's what we keep hearing, that it's going. Will it take effect? The unionization drive at Starbucks stores across the country is gathering momentum faster than the most ardent brand loyalists can say, venti caramel macchiato. Oh, I said it right, I think, even the first time. I hate ordering drinks at Starbucks because I'm not a coffee guy, so I just feel like a moron. I feel like I'm ordering in a different code language. Yeah, give me 2 shots. No, just one. No. Give me a half shot. Give me a half shot. You're like, what are you? Are we at the bar? What are we talking about? I need some milk. Oh, there's some kind of way you steam the milk, steamed milk on top. Oh, I need steamed milk on top of my hot cocoa because I don't drink coffee. So can I have a bottled water with that? Because that's the only thing that I'll drink from Starbucks. I will do green tea. Green tea, that's okay. But do you go to Starbucks to get a green tea? No, you make one at home because it's green tea. It's not a venti caramel macchiato with 2 pumps of this and half the decaf and all this convoluted stuff. But if you're into coffee and that's your thing, I say go for it. but just don't ask me to order your order. I'm going to have you yell to the person at the drive-thru, right? Hey, I'm going to lean back and I'm going to let you scream at them because I don't want to mess up your order. That's just kind of how I roll. So what started off as a fledgling union effort last summer at a Starbucks in Buffalo, New York, it's expanded to include employees at 105 locations. This is Starbucks now, 105 locations across 26 states, filing petitions to organize with Workers United, an affiliate of the Service Employees International Union, which is known as CU, said Richard Minter, the union's vice president, told HR Brew. I'm reading from HR Brew right now. Actually, it's called morningbrew.com. Just there's so many stories on so many different things, and coffee's got its own. So you've got a little union action going on with Apple and those employees using Android. I wonder if anybody actually got busted for that. Like, hey, you've got an Android phone. What are you doing? You know that's against company policy. There's no way it's against company policy. It's just some kind of probably unofficial company policy. I do have Apple products. I have an Apple iPad mini. I think it's the best thing ever. Super reliable. I've had an Apple iPad mini for who knows how long, but on an Apple computer. Don't have the MacBook Pro. I've had one, didn't integrate, again, with some software that I use. Wanted me to do this workaround with, it was just some kind of horrific workaround. It's like, okay, so you're going to be mirror imaging the software here, and it's going to bounce over to here, and you're going to need to do this in order to connect up. But just give me a PC because this software works on that. Just give me a PC. Just give it to me. And no, I'm not doing an Apple phone. A lot of people love their Apple phone. I don't like the ability not to be able to customize it like the way I want to in Apple. That's the excuse I use. It's just because I've been an Android user forever and I don't want to change. People tell me all the time, you should get an iPhone. Really? Okay. Well, what can you do on your iPhone that I can't do on my Samsung Galaxy whatever? Oh, it's got a really good camera. You know, Samsung's had better cameras than iPhones for the last few generations. It's just that when Apple comes out with like the Apple 13 Pro, 14 different cameras, 9 forward, 5 backwards. I'm exaggerating. And then, you've got Apple rolling out the video of, hey, Hollywood's making pictures on these, 13 Pros as well. And you just about can, but you really got to know what you're doing. But the whole Apple thing, using those folks using Android, you got some unionization efforts going on. And we'll just have to see how that goes. We'll keep up as best we can. But I thought the whole topic of, hey, why do you have an Android here at work? Oh, probably tried to keep those away, right? Okay. That is it for me on this one. Not a heavy duty topic, but one that was kind of funny, kind of entertaining. But the whole topic of union, that gets tricky. That gets touchy. Some people, 2 thumbs up. Oh yeah, I want the workers of the world to unite. And other people are like, I don't think so. I've always been a non-union guy. I'm self-employed. None of my companies have ever been union. So that's kind of the side of the fence I stand on. But I know there's lots of different occupations that do require a union, or, we think they require a union. Unions are involved. And so there's that. Got to work with them. And that is it for me on this topic. Thanks so much for tuning in. Love to have you hit that subscribe and notification, because we're still dropping 2 a day as we kind of go through this transition period from Seattle Real Estate Podcast to news for reasonable people. Thanks again for being here. We'll catch up soon. Talk then. Bye for now.